Projekt Guru.
Всем привет! С вами Zak Novak на радиостанции Novorossia Rocks. Welcome to Novorossia Rocks Radio Station. This is Zak Novak, your American in downtown Donetsk. Program is called Projekt Guru, and Guru's in the house as always. Andre, my engineer. Let's get right to it. Horrific news last night. Massacre, war crimes, update on Elenovka checkpoint. Pregnant woman killed with many others. Kiev Nazi junta and the Obama regime responsible. There are 5 dead, 8 wounded civilians in Elenovka. Inhabited house close to the hospital was also struck. The DPR Deputy Commander-in-Chief Edward Basurin told journalists. 2 injured people were delivered to the Republican Trauma Center. The doctor of this medical institution reported, boy, 15 years old, and a man were brought in there to be operated on, according to hospital staff. Serious condition. Horror as body parts blown away as far as 50 meters, even landing on rooftops. Massacre. This is genocide, war crimes by the Poroshenko and the Obama regime. Guru, more from Elenovka massacre. At least 6 homes were destroyed and the hospital was badly damaged due to the criminals of the Kiev junta government forces. Heavy bombing in Elenovka. Ukrainian Nazi forces shelled in the early morning hours the checkpoint Elenovka. 6 people died now. Among them was a pregnant woman, and 8 more people were seriously wounded. Nazi UAF, Ukrainian Armed Forces, purposely targeted civilian vehicles at the checkpoint. These are civilian vehicles at the checkpoint. According to the preliminary information, the village was targeted by mortars of 120 millimeter caliber mortar shells, 120 millimeter calibers, hitting civilian vehicles at a checkpoint. Pregnant woman killed, 6 dead, homes destroyed, massacre, war crimes, genocide. Evidence of mass killing of Kurds by Turkish forces handed in to the United Nations. War crimes. Report with evidence of mass killings of Kurds in Turkey's Cizre was handed over to the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, said the Executive Director of the Association for the Protection of Human Rights, Öztürk Türkoğan. Earlier, RT television channel launched a petition calling on the international community to pay attention to the circumstances of the mass death of civilians in a special operation of the Turkish junta authorities in the southeast of the country, particularly in the town of Cizre. The petition was created by RT reporters after the channel provided their materials to major international organizations, including Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, and the ICRC, but none of them expressed interest in the investigation. Guru Andre, some archives opened up. Report reveals the CIA attempted to assassinate Castro using a scuba diving suit. The U.S. National Security Archive has published information that the CIA tried to assassinate Fidel Castro using a diving suit contaminated with Madura foot fungus and tuberculosis bacteria. The idea behind this assassination was ridiculous. This Hollywood-type plot was that the CIA would get lawyer James Donovan, who had links to Castro, to unwittingly present the suit along with a watch as a gift. The diving suit was to be contaminated with tuberculosis prior to being handed over to the Cuban leader. Both Donovan and Castro shared a passion for diving, so that was why the suit was chosen as a gift by the CIA. The report alleges that the plot failed when the CIA lawyer Milan Miskovsky, who was also James Donovan's handler for the meeting with the Castro in '63, warned Donovan to check that the suit had not been in any way tampered with by the CIA. Following this warning made by Miskovsky to Donovan, the CIA changed its mind about contaminating the suit, and the plan was shelved. Everyone out there, please, an update from the massacre in Elenovka. It is very important. Everyone around the world, please know what happened. This was a checkpoint. People going across the border from Novorossia to the Ukraine side and vice versa. And shells landed by the Kiev junta Poroshenko regime landed at this checkpoint. Civilians massacred. Pregnant woman killed. Body parts everywhere. So again, go to Novorossia today. There's warning. I'm stating this warning of photos massacre at Elenovka. Poroshenko and Obama will pay for this. As was earlier reported, horrible tragedy happened at the DPR last night. 6 civilians, including a pregnant woman, perished and 8 more people wounded as a result of the shelling by the Kiev Nazi forces at the checkpoint Elenovka to the south of Donetsk. It became known at 2:45 in the morning, Ukrainian occupiers started mortar shelling at the checkpoint Elenovka. Civilian vehicles were in queue waiting for the opening of the checkpoint. These photos are not recommended for sensitive people out there, but click on Novorossia today and you'll see the photos, and there's also a video. It's just horror, massacre, genocide, war crimes. The Obama regime sending advanced rocket launchers to the fascist Turkish state. Though the Pentagon refused to confirm the claim, Turkish foreign ministry officials today announced that the U.S. has agreed to deploy advanced rocket launcher systems in southern Turkey next month with an eye toward attacking targets in ISIS-held territory in northern Syria in a more efficient way. The foreign ministry statement claimed the U.S. would be sending the M142 high-mobility artillery rocket system, a truck-mounted rocket launcher system. The HIMARS has been used in the U.S. occupation of Iraq and Afghanistan and was blamed for a 2010 incident in which U.S. rockets killed 12 civilians. That's 12 civilians, leading to its suspension from use for a time. Pentagon officials wouldn't confirm Turkey's claims, saying only that deployments were under discussion. Turkey claimed the move as a reaction to recent cross-border rocket fire coming from ISIS territory into areas housing refugees in southern Turkey. Turkish officials said the deployment would allow them to seal off the area with rocket fire, and that the longer range of the rockets would allow them to support moderate opposition in seizing the territory from ISIS eventually. Andre, listen to this. Madness. U.S. to mimic Israel's roof-knocking strategy, dropping smaller bombs on civilian homes. Even in cases where Israel is clearly not the picture of success, U.S. officials tend to look to them as a model to copy, particularly on various war tactics. So when the Pentagon was looking to reduce civilian deaths in Iraq's bombings, they looked at what Israel did in Gaza, where they killed thousands of civilians. According to Major General Peter Gersten, the U.S. is said to have attempted to copy Israel's roof-knocking strategy, dropping smaller bombs on civilian homes first to chase them out before dropping the bigger bombs. Even though it clearly didn't work well for Israel, U.S. officials tried and say it failed for them. U.S. officials are also said to be copying Israel by dropping leaflets into populated areas, demanding the civilians flee, even though, by and large, they have nowhere to go, a tactic Israel similarly used to warn Gazans out of Gaza despite all borders being closed. Bombing civilian locations is flat out illegal under the international law, though Israel has mostly gotten a pass for repeatedly doing so because the U.S. vetoes all the resolutions criticizing them for that. Vetoing criticism of all the civilians they kill ultimately is likely to be the Israel copying strategy the Pentagon settles on. Guru, U.S. regime sending advanced warplanes to the Russian front. With U.S. officials continuing to talk up Russian aggression, the Pentagon has sent a pair of F-22 Raptors to Romania in what is being described as a show of force to prove U.S. capabilities to deploy such planes anywhere in NATO territory. The F-22s have been seldom used by the Pentagon and repeatedly grounded by technical problems. Despite this, the program has cost an estimated $66 billion, well more than Russia spends on its entire military in a given year. It's the latest in a series of deployments of U.S. military assets to the Russian frontier, all claiming Russian aggression as a justification, despite a lack of Russia actually doing anything beyond deployments, reacting to the U.S. buildup. The pilots denied the F-22s were deployed to provoke anybody, though one of the pilots also referenced Russian intercepts of U.S. warplanes along their border as a cause for the deployment, saying they just want to encourage them to do that in a safe way. Putin signs law on state border between Russia and South Ossetia. Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed a law on ratification of a treaty on the state border between Russia and South Ossetia. The treaty, the text of which was posted on the Kremlin website earlier on Tuesday, had been signed in Moscow in February of 2015. The administrative territorial border, which existed between the Russian Soviet Federal Social Republic and the Georgian Soviet Socialistic Republic at the time of the USSR's disintegration, and was enshrined in legal acts facts and supported by relevant map documents, was used as the basis for marking a new state border between Russia and South Ossetia, the treaty said. The treaty meets the Russian interests in full measure. Its ratification will make it possible for Russia to establish the state border regime on the aforesaid section without hindering the free movement of citizens between the two states. Hey everyone, that ends our program. As I state always, be on alert, stay on alert, be safe out there, and see you all on Friday. Bye-bye, folks.